France recently announced that it's ending its military operation against Islamist militants in West Africa's Sahel region. Paris launched Operation Barkhane 7 years ago to try to uproot jihadists from several countries, including Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger and Chad. Now, France says it's not abandoning the region and will retain troops on the ground as part of a wider international force. But critics say the mission was struggling to achieve its goals.
On their way out, these French soldiers have finished their stint in Mali, and soon the operation they've been part of will come to an end too. Over 5,000 French troops are stationed across the Sahel region for Operation Barkhane. Launched in 2014, its goal was to push back Islamist militants gaining ground and influence. But the mission hasn't made the progress that was hoped for. In Mali, jihadists still control swathes of the country, and the situation remains volatile across the region. For some, that's caused a call for France to stay. I ask everyone with a little restraint to let these foreign forces cooperate with the Malian forces, to cooperate with our armed forces in order to be able to complete this task, which is impatiently awaiting us. But many welcome the change. The departure of France is to our advantage, because since the French have been there, we have not seen any improvement. We only suffer from day to day. Others say the French mission was always a tall order. It covers more than 5 million square kilometres across West Africa. Experts say securing such a huge area is almost impossible. Adding to the difficulties, there are also accusations that French troops have killed more civilians than they've admitted. For now, though, the French aren't completely going away. The plan is they'll be part of a new mission that relies more on regional and international partners.
As you heard there, France's operation in the Sahel has experienced a number of challenges. A group of investigative journalists is alleging that Paris is also failing to be transparent about the number of civilian casualties. A recent investigation on the website The New Humanitarian says there are many incidences where French troops have claimed to be targeting jihadists, but in fact have ended up killing innocent civilians. Let's speak to Patricia Huon, a journalist who worked on that investigation. Patricia joins me now from Johannesburg, South Africa. France is accused of killing innocent civilians in its Sahel operations. Patricia, what did you find out in your investigation?
So we've been working on that investigation for almost a year. So we spent several months in Mali. We interviewed a lot of witnesses, survivors, analysts. We looked at documents. And basically what we were looking at is what is the civilian toll of France's anti-jihadist war in Mali. So there was that event in Bounti in central Mali in January where there was a French airstrike and 22 people were killed. And while the French were saying that they were all terrorists, but then other people like witnesses and also a report from the United Nations, an investigation from them, was saying that actually among the 22 people who were killed, 19 were civilians. So we ourselves spoke to people from Bounti, 8 people in total. So they are herders, cattle breeders. One of the men was in his 60s, another one in his 70s, and like the story, like even the details were really matching. So what they're saying is that it was a wedding that day, and so 19 civilians have been killed, but then the French are saying no, they were all terrorists, and they refuse to. They say we have the proof for it, like the images from the drone that was doing observation that day, but they refuse to share those images. So it's like, well, take our word for it, basically.
Okay. Patricia, on that note, you know, in the Sahel, jihadists are often said to be sometimes embedded in local communities. So when you have the French saying what they're saying and you have the people you spoke to giving an alternative view to it, how is it even possible to independently verify whose account of the casualties is accurate?
Well, it's extremely complicated. So, like, since 2013, the French army has recognized that they killed 7 civilians by mistake. We actually, like, in that investigation, we came to the conclusion that that number is probably of at least 50 civilians that have been killed, and that might be only the tip of the iceberg. So let me give you an example. We had like that document, a confidential document that was leaked. And so there was an internal document from Barkhane. And in that document, it was stated that a civilian was killed in May 2020. So the man was on a motorbike with 2 other people. He came close to French soldiers. They thought he was a terrorist. They shot him. The man died. And so that document clearly says that then they realized he was a civilian. So a compensation was paid to the family of the victim, and but that event was never made public.
Right.
Like the French army is publishing press release on a regular basis, but they will talk about the good news, the successful operation, and sometimes say, for example, like they're also very vague. It's like, 10 terrorists have been neutralized. That's the word that is used rather than killed. But,
so just looking at that, like, overall, Patricia, the French are making their exit. We're hearing the news that Operation Barkhane is coming to an end. What impact will the exit have on the security situation in the Sahel? Are they abandoning this region to its fate?
Well, for now, like President Macron has said that he wants to put an end to Barkhane operation in its actual form. But of course, it's not going to happen in one day. France is not going to withdraw the 5,000 soldiers they have in the Sahel from one day to another. Yeah, probably some of the troops will leave. And what France would like is to see other European countries being more involved, but many of them are extremely reluctant to send troops in that conflict, mostly now that it seems more and more obvious that it's not going to be solved only by a military intervention.
Okay. Patricia Huon, a journalist based in Johannesburg, South Africa, thank you.